Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Justin Timberlake.
I'm bringing sexy back.
The Forget Tomorrow World Tour. Live in Memphis. Justin Timberlake. FedEx Forum, Saturday, November 23rd. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new single Selfish is available to stream and download now.
If I get jealous, I can't help it.
For more, hit up justintimberlake.com.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle back in Memphis producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you get through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't give up on Penny Hardaway's Tigers when they fell down 8-0 last night to start the game in San Francisco, or when they were down 9 points at halftime, because as they'd done previously, they rallied in the second half to secure a win that allows them to remain undefeated heading into Monday's game with the double champ, the UConn Huskies. Monday could be a huge day for Penny and his program. We're going to talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Jessica Benson is going to join me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurst. She's with me Fridays in the second segment. She'll be here in about 20 minutes. I'll talk Tigers and Grizzlies with JB. When I finish talking to Jess, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, we got a rainy and snowy Thursday night football game between the Browns and Steelers last night. Somebody didn't recognize funny business. Somebody didn't recognize funny business.
Well, I did. I just changed my mind.
Somebody didn't act on funny business. We'll discuss in about 40 minutes. Patriots owner Robert Kraft has reportedly been passed over yet again for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know if we should even care about this stuff, but if we do care about this stuff, it's kind of interesting because he's got all of the accomplishments to support a Hall of Fame nomination and induction, but he's got some controversies too, and that appears to be the main reason he's getting left out. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show. Former Temple basketball player Hyshir Miller is under investigation for betting on Temple games in violation of the law. For what it's worth, he was 4 of 15 from the field in an 84-77 loss to the Tigers last season. That's interesting.
Wow.
We'll discuss a little later on in the show. The game of the night in college basketball last night, it was Baylor and St. John's. We had it on CBS Sports Network, went to double overtime. Then Jeremy Roach ended it with a buzzer beater. We'll show it to you. We'll do that in the third segment. And this weekend is expected to be the biggest Thanksgiving weekend in box office history. I'll let Bennett tell you what's up during a segment. We call 5 more things you need to know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carryout, and then we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but obviously I wanted to start with Tiger basketball because the University of Memphis men's basketball program played its 4th game of the season last night. Did it out in San Francisco inside the Chase Center. The opponent was the USF Dons, and they actually closed as slight favorites in this non-league matchup. It's a classic case of wrong team favored. Final score 68, San Francisco 64. Dane Danger, he got 18.7 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. He did it all off the bench. Musa Cisse blocked 4 shots. P.J. Haggerty scored in double figures for the 4th straight game. And now Memphis going to take a 4-0 record into the Maui Invitational, where they're going to open on Monday against the back-to-back national champs, Dan Hurley's UConn Huskies. Big Bet Bennett, how fired up are you for what we're going to be doing on Monday afternoon?
I am very fired up because the fact that they got that win last night. First off, that was a great win last night. That team that they that's a good team they played, dude. It was just a good basketball game. And so I was really thrilled with last night, and they were able to battle through some controversy in that game. Like San Francisco, dude, I think that team's got a chance to be an NCAA tournament team. I mean, they look really good, and they took it to the Tigers. So good on them getting that win last night. And yeah, man, the fact that they were able to win that and get to 4-0, it just feels like a free swing at UConn on Monday. Like, if you lose, whatever, it's not going to hurt you probably at all come into the season. And if you win, then we're talking about some really exciting things, I think.
Yeah, I would hesitate to agree it was a great game because, neither team got to 70. Neither team shot it too well. But it was a great win. I'll agree with you there, Bennett. To go on the road, and I know it wasn't a true road environment because they played this at the Chase Center, which was mostly empty.
That was a mistake.
Well, it was a mistake maybe by USF, but intention by Memphis. And it's also one of those deals where Memphis says, hey, we'll come play you in your hometown. And they say, oh, that's awesome. We would love that. And they say, but we're not going to do it on your campus. And they say, oh, man, but come on, let's do it on the campus. And you say, no, we're not going to do it on the campus. We'll do it at the Chase Center. And they say, oh, no, we'd rather do it at the campus where we'll actually have a real home environment. And they say, no, we're not going to do it on campus. But if you want to do it at the Chase Center, we'll do it at the Chase Center. And then if you're San Francisco, you say, well, geez, I don't want to do it at the Chase Center. I'd rather do it on campus. But having Memphis come play us in San Francisco is better than not having Memphis come play us in San Francisco. We can't get another brand like Memphis to come play us in San Francisco, so I guess we'll do it. That's how that works.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it was extremely empty, and like you said, I think that favored Memphis quite a bit.
No question. And Penny acknowledged that after the game, said it was a blessing that they didn't have to go on campus and were instead able to play that game inside the Chase Center. If you watched it again, you know it wasn't pretty. Tigers went down 8-0 to start the game, and then it took them nearly 4 minutes to get their first field goal. They were down 9 points, 31-22. That was the halftime score. The second half was a totally different deal. Memphis opened the second half on a 10-0 run. They outscored San Francisco 46-33 in the final 20 minutes, ended up winning the game by 4. Again, it wasn't pretty. They only shot 36.5% from the field. They had 15 turnovers, only 8 assists, only 1 starter scored in double figures. But still, despite all that, the Tigers did beat a top 55 KenPom team on the road to remain undefeated. So that's good stuff. I don't really care how you got there as long as you got there. And it does, like you mentioned, change everything heading into the Maui Invitational. If you lose to San Francisco, you just feel, as a Memphis fan, I think, let down, and like the champs are probably about to stomp you on national TV. But now you're 4-0, you're up to 33rd at KenPom, and ready to take a puncher's chance at what is the best program in the sport right now. Bennett, what do you suspect the UConn-Memphis point spread is going to be? We don't have it yet, but KenPom does have a projected score. What do you think that looks like?
Okay, so they've scored in the 90s 3 times already this season, and 81 in their last blowout win over East Texas. They haven't played anybody. I'm going to say I'm going to say that I bet it's within 10. I'll say UConn -8.
It's right now at KenPom, UConn -6.
Okay.
Final score projected by that algorithm, UConn 77, Memphis 71. So we keep talking about this, hey, just go take a puncher's chance at the double champs and see what happens. But it's not even really just like a puncher's chance. 6-point underdogs and underdogs that are underdogs by more than 6 points. That's not if somebody's a 6-point underdog and win the game outright, that's not the craziest thing you've ever seen. So this is a real opportunity for Memphis to launch itself onto the national radar. Like you mentioned accurately, Bennett, UConn has looked good in moments this season, I guess, but it's hard to know what the Huskies are because they haven't played anybody. They're 4-0, but here's the opponents. Sacred Heart, which is ranked 323rd at KenPom. New Hampshire, which is ranked 355th at KenPom. Lemoyne, which is ranked 340th at KenPom. And Texas A&M Commerce, which is ranked 350th at KenPom. Obviously, Dan Hurley is awesome and can run his program however he wants. But if I were a UConn season ticket holder, and I've made this point before, I'd be upset with this. The Huskies only have 16 games at home this season, and 5 of them are against teams ranked 320th or lower at KenPom. And that
probably ain't a cheap ticket.
No. So, you only get 16 games, and 5 of them are against teams, again, 320th or lower at KenPom, which just creates games where the Huskies are favored by 30-plus points. Tuesday night, this past Tuesday night, UConn won by 35 while playing comically bad, according to Dan Hurley. So, if you're a UConn season ticket holder, are you excited about buying tickets full price to a game where your team can play comically bad and still win by 35? If you're a UConn season ticket holder, 31% of your tickets, the tickets that you're buying for this season, what you're getting for your money is nothing more than total mismatches where your team can be, quote, comically bad, according to the coach, and still win by 35 points. At some point, fans are going to get tired of doing that. Either way, that's not the point. The point is that UConn is a very, very different team than last season's team. This season's team has played nobody, and so it's actually hard to know what Memphis is going to be up against on Monday. I think at this point we know more about Penny Hardaway's team, this version of it, than we know about Dan Hurley's team, this version of it. My assumption, if it's not clear, let me be clear. My assumption is that UConn is once again really good. They have a great coach. They have a talented roster, and great coaches with talented rosters tend to have really good teams. So I assume UConn is going to be really good, if not great, but we haven't seen it yet. So if you're Penny Hardaway, I think you just remind your team that Tristan Newton, Donovan Clingan, Stephon Castle, Cam Spencer, they're all in the NBA now. Yes, Dan Hurley is excellent, and he's still there. Alex Caravan is really good. He's still there. But this UConn team is otherwise a vastly different team. So you just, if I'm Penny Hardaway, you just put your players in those Memphis State jerseys. You tell them to play with something close to nothing to lose. And you go out there and try to launch yourself onto the national radar by upsetting the back-to-back champs. Tip is scheduled on Monday. We're going to do it at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Let's go.
The biggest win of Penny Hardaway's career could be on tap. Jessica Benson, she's the host. Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. I'll talk both Tigers and Grizzlies with her. She's going to pop in studio next. It's the Gary Parrish Show. We're presented by Ortho South.
Didn't talk about owling, and you're telling me you didn't know owling?
What the hell is an owling?
Owling is worse than Tebowing.
What is an
How
owling?
far can Kyra zoom out on this camera?
She can zoom all the way out.
Can
Are
she
you gonna
zoom
hit us?
out?
What are you doing?
I'm owling.
Okay. Wait, why were we doing this? What is that?
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Welcome back to the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I am in New York City. Bennett Doyle back inside the Bill Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum downtown Memphis. And joining him in that studio right now is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. It's weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. It's the great Jessica Benson. Hey, Jessica Benson, it's your friend Gary. How you doing?
Hi, Gary Parrish. It's so good to hear from you.
Hey. Oh, you're sounding actually not that much
You sounded better.
Yeah, a little better, but not that much better, but a little better.
I think I was sounding much better at the start of my show, but then I yelled at CJ about Indiana football for 20 minutes, and I took some steps back. So it's okay. I'll be better. By Monday, I'm thinking 90%.
Okay, I apologize, but I was up till 5 a.m., so I missed your argument with CJ about Indiana football. But tell me, what side of this argument are we on?
I'm so sick of the cult of the SEC, Gary. You play the teams that are on your schedule, and thus far, Indiana has gone 10-0 against those teams. It is all they can do, and if Indiana goes and at least is within a touchdown of Ohio State this weekend, I think it is asinine to consider keeping them out of the college football playoff. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm with you. I don't have a favorite college football team other than, of course, I want great things for the University of Memphis. But I don't really care in a different year what happens to Ohio State or Indiana. But I do care about this game tomorrow, and I want Indiana to not only show itself well, I would love for them to just go out and straight up win the game. I know they're underdogs. I know it's unlikely. But I hate, with a capital H, when people are dismissive of accomplishments based off of largely preconceived notions or ideas you've made up about a team. It is possible Indiana is not as good as its record reflects, but we don't know that, have no reason to think that other than you didn't head into the season thinking they would be any good, and that's a ridiculous reason to leave them out of any playoff conversation.
And I do think I am emotionally charged in this argument because when I grew up a fan of the WAC and understanding that a WAC team had to be perfect to even flirt with the idea of playing in a BCS bowl game. And if you think back on the 2006 Boise State football team, and they go 8-0, and there's still so much doubt about them because who did they play? Their strength of schedule stinks. And then they go and they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. You play the games that exist. I hate this hypothetical creating narratives. What I can tell you is that Ole Miss lost to Kentucky this year. What I can tell you is Alabama lost to a Vanderbilt team that lost to Georgia State. I can tell you Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. And then I can tell you that Indiana has not lost to a team on its schedule. And if they were to lose to lose to Ohio State this weekend in a close game, I am still treating that as better than any of those other losses that I just mentioned. So it kills me. And if you want to only have a college football playoff with just SEC teams, then we should just take the SEC. I thought we were going to do this with the SEC and the Big Ten, but now we have a Big Ten program that is in the mix of this, and we're still doing it. So I'm very frustrated.
Now, explain to me why we're so sure that Texas is good at 9-1 with nothing that could qualify as an obviously great win, but we're not sure that Indiana's good, even though Indiana is 10-0.
SEC bias. That is the only answer to that question, is that you are inflating the SEC schedule and any SEC opponent over what Indiana is doing. And CJ was mad because I dared say that Indiana's wins over Washington and Michigan have any value. And I do hate the argument of, well, Michigan won the national championship last year and Washington was the runner-up, because both of those teams lost their coaches, lost their entire rosters, had a lot of turnover. But from a brand standpoint, Indiana did beat last year's national champion and the runner-up last year. And you're putting value with names of teams. And I thought the whole point of the SEC and the Big Ten trying to separate themselves from everybody else was that both of those conferences held some semblance of equal weight. And all you're telling me is that the SEC is always going to literally mean more, because they've been telling us it just means more over and over to the point that we believe it.
They played one good SEC team, Texas has, and they lost to them. That was Georgia. What else have they done outside of that? They beat the same Michigan team that Indiana's beaten, so let's just call that a wash.
They
although
barely
I know
beat Vanderbilt.
Right. So I'm not even trying to argue that Indiana is better than Texas. That's not the point.
Me neither.
What I'm arguing is that based on stuff that's happened on football fields since we started the season, there's not really anything tangible that suggests Texas is safely in the field and that Indiana isn't. Or at least I should rephrase, there is nothing tangible that's happened on the field that should suggest Texas is safe in the field and Indiana, for whatever reason, isn't. Anyway, go Hoosiers. I'll be rooting like crazy for them.
Me too. The Maple Missile is their quarterback. Who doesn't want to root for the Maple Missile?
I definitely want to root for the Maple Miss. I didn't even know that was an option in life. I can't believe it took me 47 years to find out you can just wake up on a Saturday and root for a Maple Missile.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do that.
I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to go get myself a maple bar, because I love a maple bar. It's one of my favorite donuts. And then I'm going to cheer on the Maple Missile in the big noon kickoff.
Do you think I've had a maple bar before? And if so, where would I have gotten that?
You've never had a maple bar?
I don't know.
It's a
I'm
maple
not saying
bar.
that. I don't want to lie to you, but the first thing you're going to have to do is explain to me and Bennett what is a maple bar.
Okay, well, now you're asking me to explain something that I would describe as it's a maple bar. It's a donut. So it's okay. The dough of a donut.
Oh, I've had one.
And then it has like a mapley frosting glaze on top. But instead of, you would get like a glazed donut. Instead of the glaze or a chocolate donut, it would be maple. They have them at Gibson's.
Yeah,
here.
that's where I've had one. It's like an eclair, but it's maple. But there's no
nothing
filling.
in it.
Yeah,
there's no filling.
It's like a long donut with maple icing on it, right?
I think we call it a maple bar because it's in the shape of a bar, like a gold bar.
You telling me I wrapped up this stupid show? I can walk out of my hotel and I can find a maple bar somewhere within 2 blocks of my hotel. I bet I could.
You're in New York City. I think you could find a maple bar easily.
Then I'm going to go try to find one, because I would like to have a maple bar in advance of rooting heavily for the Maple Missile.
My mom was a big maple bar supporter, so I was always eating maple bars. But people often pass over the maple bar in the church donut box. I don't know if you grew up going to church, Gary, but when you would go to church, I went to church for the donuts for a long time, and when you would open the box, everyone wanted the sprinkles or the chocolate or the traditional glazed, and they would always leave the maple bar. But I was like, you You jokers, you don't understand what you're missing out on, but I would happily take the maple bar every time. That's a maple bar.
Oh, buddy, that looks like something, doesn't it?
Where are you at, GP? Like where what's the name of the area that you are?
I'm in Midtown Manhattan. Let's call it 54th and Broadway. I'll be a maple bar, Bennett.
I am, but okay, Midtown West. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out Bliss Bomb. It says they have a great maple bar.
Give me an address.
Bliss Bomb is at 335 West 38th Street.
That's a little bit of a walk from here.
Is that a little far?
Is Bear Donut at West 31st Street closer to you? Or are you more up in the 40s?
I'm 54th, so like 34th further. Yeah, I need something in the 50s or the 40s.
We'll get working. We'll find you one.
Yeah, we'll find
you one.
All right. We'll get to working. What did you say about your mother? She was a big supporter of maple bars.
Yeah.
I had something probably unimportant to say about that, but it's probably sometimes things are best left unsaid.
There's nothing unimportant about my mother. Maple bars. She took me to Wicked. Now I get to go see the Wicked movie. I'm feeling very nostalgic this morning.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're getting your voice back. That's nice to hear.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Hey, let's talk Tiger basketball for a second.
Oh,
they got a big win last night. It wasn't the prettiest victory I've ever seen, but it was an important victory. It's, instead of being 3-1 with a loss to San Francisco, you're now 4-0 with a win over San Francisco, headed to your annual vacation spot, Hawaii, to compete in the Maui Invitational. And like Bennett said earlier, it's more or less, and I think I agree with the sentiment. Hey, you're 4-0. You're playing the double champs. Let's go take a free swing at them. If you get it, you launch yourself onto the national radar, and you're the biggest story in college basketball. And if you don't, that's fine. You're still 4-1 with your lone loss to UConn, and you got another game on Tuesday. So that's where we're headed on Monday. It should be a fun afternoon, right?
Yeah, you would certainly rather be 4-0 going into that game than 2-2 or 3-1 or, God forbid, 0-4. Like, it's been interesting to watch this team, and the first half struggles have been enough of a pattern that you are concerned because you can't come out and press snooze against UConn in the first half because I feel like they'll bury you rather quickly, and it might be too big of a hole to climb out of. But you do have an opportunity now to go in and make a statement. I know everyone will have very rational takes if Memphis does not get a win over UConn on Monday, but ultimately I'm going to try to challenge myself to be very centered, very zen with it all. Like, just don't get out there and get absolutely smoked. And I think there can be some positives to take from it. And hell, you get a win, that'd be great.
In fact, that's what Penny Hardaway should say to the team in the locker room right before they run out of the tunnel. Hey, guys, let's go out there and let's not get smoked.
Yeah, let's not get smoked.
My goodness. Jeez.
Well,
Someone's been smoking.
I'm not trying to kill Jessica. I'm not trying to make Jessica cough to death.
You can't make me laugh. Oh, actually, that helped. That kind of like got some stuff going.
Up?
So, yeah. We're rolling now.
Okay, I'll stop making jokes. All right.
This is a very serious program. Come on.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be very serious the rest of the way. All right? Okay. Very serious. Jessica, I have unmuted at Grizzlies PR because as much as I'm trying to protect my mental health and they keep delivering sad news, I feel like I do need to stay informed. So I've unmuted at Grizzlies PR. And I had gotten to a point where I was comfortable with a week-to-week situation. Like I don't love it, but John Morant's going to be reevaluated week to week. Zach Edey, week to week. I don't love it, but I had grown where I'm comfortable with it. And then they hit me yesterday. They hit me yesterday, and you know what it said? Vince Williams will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. I couldn't even get a week to week. What happened?
A grade 3 ankle sprain happened. Why did it have to be grade 3?
Hey,
couldn't it just be a simple grade 1? When do we get like the grade 0.5? Does Zach Edey have a grade 0.5 ankle sprain? That's the Grizzlies update I want. I was told Zach Edey looked pretty good. He was walking around at shoot around. So that's where I'm waiting for. But no, it stinks. There's no getting around it. You finally get Vince Williams Jr. back, and now he is ripped away for another at least 4 weeks because we know reevaluated in 4 weeks does not guarantee that Vince Williams Jr. is back on the court in 4 weeks. I will say, trying to take the positive mental approach.
In fact, it almost guarantees that he won't be back on the court in 4 weeks.
Okay, fine. Twist the knife a little bit further in. But finding out that you're without Vince Williams Jr. for this significant period of time, extended period of time, feels different than when you found out you were without him early in the season because of the play of Jalen Wells. Like, that position has become something where you feel as if there is a luxury of depth, both with Jalen Wells, and I'll throw Jake LaRavia into the mix as well. And so suddenly being without Vince Williams Jr., who I'm not trying to take away from the impact of him not being out there. I think if there's anybody who ultimately could challenge Marcus Smart as a starter in that position, it would be Vince Williams Jr. But even if he's not your starter, having that as your first option off the bench is fantastic. But you're not in as dire of straits because you do have a rookie in Jalen Wells who has looked more ready than perhaps anticipated early on in his career. You do have Jake LaRavia, who's making plays everywhere, all at once, on the defensive end, on the offensive end, as a playmaker. I think that's one of the things with Vince Williams Jr. in that small sample size we got back. It was nice to see him as a playmaker and as a facilitator, and as they continue to navigate these waters without Ja, you need as much of that as possible. But all I can say is hopefully the reevaluation in 4 weeks will be good. And hopefully the evaluation of Ja Morant ASAP will be good, because he tweeted that he was coming back, and I'm holding him to it. Not that he's coming back, but coming back sooner than expected.
He said we would have good news. I'm going to trust him, but we haven't gotten it yet. So I'm looking forward to its arrival. With Jalen Wells, it really is an incredible story. It's a young man. I mean, we all know it by now. He's the 39th pick in the draft, second-round selection out of Washington State. I was in studio last night with Adam Zucker, our host, and Roy Hibbert and Wally Zerbiak, a couple of former NBA All-Stars. And we're just sort of talking basketball, and Jalen Wells came up. And we just sort of acknowledged, like we said in that studio 2 nights a week, every week of the season, last season, I don't think Jalen Wells' name was said one time. I really don't know if I said Jalen Wells' name one time all last college basketball season. And now here we are, week before Thanksgiving. He has already started 11 games in his NBA career for a Western Conference contender. He's not starting for the Washington Wizards. He's starting for a team that thinks it's trying to win a championship if the roster can get healthy enough. So here's my question for you. I know what the answer, I think I know what the answer would be if the game was tonight, but I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about let's let this whole season unfold however we imagine it unfolding. But then the playoffs are starting, and the Grizzlies are the 4 seed, and they're opening a 7-game series inside FedEx Forum tonight. But it's actually when the playoffs are starting. Ja Morant and Desmond Bane are starting. Jaren Jackson and another big are starting. Who's the 5th starter?
That's a great question. I would love it to be Marcus Smart still, because that's one of the biggest reasons that you have Marcus Smart, right? Like, once you get to the postseason, it's different. And I understand the play of Jalen Wells has been tremendous, and I think especially what he's given you on the defensive side of things, because even if you had said Jalen Wells' name once covering him at Washington State, Gary, it was probably going to be because Jalen Wells made a 3 or made a couple of them in a game. And maybe it wasn't going to put the spotlight on what he could give from you defensively. And I think, again, that's a great testament to the talent evaluation of this front office, because before Jalen Wells, and we're just talking about Vince Williams Jr., but like Vince Williams Jr. was on the hustle at the start of last season and then became one of the biggest bright spots in a lost year. But I think when you get to the postseason, you want the experience of Marcus Smart.
I mean, my pick would be Gigi.
Your pick would be Gigi.
Yeah, I still before the injury, that's who I wanted to be the starting small forward coming into the season. I think now I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think he's got obviously a long way to go to come back, but I think that the best version of this team is eventually going to be with him as your starting small forward. That's where I'm at.
I don't know if the best version of the team is going to be with Gigi Jackson as your starting small forward, but here's what I would guess, and it's just a guess, nothing more. I bet you by the time we get to the playoffs, the best option is somebody other than Marcus Smart.
Interesting. You don't think at that point the playoff experience of Marcus Smart would give him the edge in a crowded field vying for that starting role?
First off, he barely plays, but I did.
Hey, some of us get sick sometimes, Gary.
I understand, but I did. The premise of the entire conversation was everybody's healthy, so let's not even factor that in. Yeah, of course, the playoff experience could matter, and of course, the entire reason you bring in Marcus Smart, make the trade for him, is for moments like that. I'm just not sure that either Jalen or Gigi or Vince will emerge as the better option as this season unfolds. In other words, on November 22nd, I think it's totally reasonable to think Marcus Smart would be the best option under those set of circumstances. It's just that I can imagine a scenario where if Jalen Wells keeps playing at this level, or Vince Williams plays at the level he showed last season, or Gigi Jackson looks like what he was last season but has also taken a jump, I can easily imagine how any of those players turn into better options by the time we actually get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is there's options, like sincere options. I mean, going into the season, I even flirted with the idea of what if that role goes to Santi Aldama? And Santi's been great this season, and shifting him into that potential starting 3 role, or maybe he's more valuable coming off the bench. But you have a assortment of riches there, which could make a difficult case for Marcus Smart down the stretch. But ultimately, I think the less you have to rely on a rookie in the playoffs, the better. That's where I always end up. And that's not any knock on Jalen Wells. That's just how I view playoff basketball. And we're a long ways away from there. Maybe by that point, Jalen Wells has made an undeniable case that he should be the starter in that situation.
Before I get you out of here, let's focus on the next, 5-game stretch. Next up is tomorrow night in Chicago inside the United Center. Then the Grizz come back home. On Monday, it's Portland. On Wednesday, it's Detroit. On Friday, it's New Orleans. On Sunday, it's Indiana. 5-game stretch. 4 of those are at home. You're 9-7 now. If we're talking Monday, December 2nd, after this 5-game stretch, what are you taking? 13-8? Would you take 12-9? What's acceptable to Jessica Benson?
You can't ask me. Wait, you can't ask me to do live math. What's the numbers?
I did it for you.
We're 9-7.
I know, but you started saying numbers, and then I stressed out that I was going to have to do live math. So we're 9-7. How many games? The 5 games. The 5 games.
5-0 would take you to 14-7. Obviously, we all take that because you can't get anything better than that. My question is: you taking 13-8? You taking 12-9? You taking 11-10? That's the way math works, I think.
I'm taking 9 plus 5 is 14. I'm taking 13-8.
Me too.
And I know that's a lot. That's going 4-1 in a 5-game stretch.
They should go 4-0 in this upcoming home stretch.
You should go 5-0. I'll take it a step further. Go 5-0 in this period. And outside of the game against
Bennett, how many times does a team have to lose to the Nets in one season before you just stop assuming they're going to win all these home games?
Okay. Well, I feel like the Nets thing's an anomaly.
It did happen twice.
It did happen twice. That's just one of those weird. Why we're gonna look back and be like, why the hell did that happen?
And that's where I want to call the loss to the Jokic-less Nuggets an anomaly as well.
I think that's.
And this is where they get right against teams that they should beat.
I mean, these 4 now Detroit's played kind of. They've been competitive this season, but like those 4 teams that are about to be here, like they're going to be favored against all of them. They should handle them regardless of who's playing for the Grizzlies.
I agree that they should, Bennett. I'm just skeptical that they will because I've been watching.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But how about this? I hope you guys are right. I'm with you. I would also take 13-8. If we're talking on December 2nd, if I'm sitting with JB at 8:40 on December 2nd, talking about the Grizzlies are now 13-8 heading into a game against Luka and Kyrie and the Dallas Mavericks on TNT. Oh, by the way, maybe John Morant's back by then. Oh, man, I can't wait for December 2nd.
Sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up for December 2nd. All right, Jessica Benson, I'm sure you got 40 dogs to walk or something like that.
Only 2. Actually, no, that's a lie. I have 4.
Do you ever get done with your show on Fridays and then go, you know what? this could really be the end of my day, but now I got to go talk to this idiot for 25 minutes, and then I got to go walk other people's dogs. What am I doing with my life? You ever had that moment?
Yes, but the dogs force me to get outside and smell the flowers. And
That's
when I'm
nice.
in here, I just
That's
have
nice.
to talk about what other weird stuff we talk about on any Friday. It's been a very normal segment.
You could also buy flowers and just put them in your home and then lay on the couch and smell the exact
Yeah,
same.
do you know how expensive? I'm sorry, we don't all have Gary Parrish money. I can't be out here buying bouquets of flowers.
The flower prices have
Please.
skyrocketed. Yeah,
Wait,
it's outrageous.
Everyone's concerned about eggs, but what about the flowers?
The flowers, yeah, it's gotten crazy.
Hey, on that subject, are flowers like the biggest waste of money? Like buying somebody a bouquet of flowers because it's their birthday or Valentine's Day or your anniversary. Like you're just going to go drop $80 on something that will die within days. Like in what world, how did we convince ourselves this makes sense?
They're nice,
They're
though.
so nice.
Yeah, they make you feel good when they're in your home.
Like
I
if
think,
I had
yeah.
money, I would have fresh flowers all the time in my home.
Agreed.
Every time we have a lot of flowers in our home, every once in a while, yeah, for the same reason, it'd be like, hey, it just makes you feel good or it looks pretty or smell. I walk into my home, there's a lot of flowers, and it reminds me of a funeral home.
Oh no, you're getting the wrong flowers.
When I smell flowers, it reminds me of dead bodies.
Well, that sounds like a personal
I've
problem.
never heard anyone say that, GP. That's strange.
When I smell flowers, it reminds me of a funeral home because the only time I smell flowers these days is really like at a funeral home. That's what it reminds me of.
When I smell flowers, I think of wealth.
Okay.
We house sit for some wealthy people, and they'll have like fresh flowers delivered, and I'm like, God, this is gonna be my life someday.
Mm-hmm.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah.
That is when you got real money, when you're just getting flowers delivered to your house for no reason whatsoever.
They're not even home. We're house sitting. I'm like, you're not even here.
It's outrageous.
But thanks for the flowers.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, hey, I hope you enjoy your flower smelling today and your
Thank
dog
you.
walking.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Enjoy Wicked, JB.
I will enjoy Wicked. You enjoy your maple bar.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go try to find one. But y'all trying to make me walk. You try to make me walk all the way down to 34th Street. That's going to send me through Times Square. Next thing you know, I'll be taking selfies with Spider-Man.
Is he really Spider-Man?
Yes, that is really Spider-Man. It's really Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man with a drug problem, sure, but that is really Spider-Man.
Still Spider-Man.
And it's still Spider-Man. The selfie still looks the same. All right, JB, go walk your dog. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. We come back. We had a Thursday night football game with Jameis Winston, snow, and rain. That is an incredible combination. Somebody I know, I don't want to name names. But somebody I know did not spot funny business. Did not properly.
Yes, I did.
Recognize funny business.
But you made me change my mind. That's what happened. I'm done listening to you.
We had a tough situation. We had ourselves a dilemma yesterday because on one hand we did spot funny business, but on the other hand we didn't want to act on it because we are ashamed of the Cleveland franchise for employing an alleged sexual predator. So that was our dilemma.
Correct.
Do we act on funny business, which we know we've been doing this long enough, which we know is the right thing to do, but to act on funny business, we have to side with a franchise that allegedly employed a sexual predator, and we weren't comfortable with that. So, like, would you want to put your hard-earned money on a team that employed Matt Gaetz? I mean, probably not, right? So that's the dilemma we were in. We made the wrong choice. We'll talk about it next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Goldberg announces he's going to have a retirement match in 2025, and he said this on College Game Day.
We know you're trying to ride the coattails because the 2025 is supposed to be the year of John Cena. Goldberg, I have a message for you, my guy. We don't care about your retirement match. Your retirement match was 3 years ago. Go somewhere, go away.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled. Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. And that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Cleveland 24, Pittsburgh 19. Thursday night football in the rain and the snow in Cleveland, Ohio. Jameis Winston talked about it with Carly Hartung pregame. He talked about it postgame. If you haven't seen him, just do a Twitter search for Jameis Winston. He's actually hilarious. Do you think he's doing this intentionally, Bennett? Do you think Jameis Winston goes into these interviews saying, I'm going to be hilarious? Or do you think he's just unintentionally hilarious?
No, I think I think that's his real personality. I love Jameis. I am a huge fan. That was actually, I'm pissed that I changed my mind yesterday on the pick because it was funny business. And I think that guy's easy to root for. I do. He just he seems like he's having fun.
I mean, there were the rape allegations in college.
Okay, but okay, fair enough. I mean, nothing ever came of that. So
well, a lot actually came of that.
What?
Possibly corruption.
Yeah, but he was never charged with anything, was he?
Yeah. Yes, but some would argue that was part of the corruption that he should have been and he would have been if he weren't like a star quarterback about to win a Heisman Trophy and be the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, we don't have to relitigate the situation, but there was certainly some evidence that suggested that case perhaps should have gone a little further than it did. And I can never quite get that out of my head. So here's the thing, because I'm with you. I watched this version of Jameis Winston, and he's very easy to root for. Quarterback who was heralded coming out of college, then got beat down a little bit, but now he's back and, he won a Thursday night football game last night, if nothing else, and he's hilarious, intentionally or otherwise, every time he speaks. Very easy to root for, but I can't ever forget, that stuff that happened at Florida State might not have been so great. I guess nobody's perfect, though, right, Bennett?
Sure. Well, I had fun last night, and the thing is I should have taken into account the weather, because what really ended up happening is when Cleveland took that early lead, it was like then the snow just started coming down like crazy, and then like nothing. It was just like nothing was really happening at that point, right? Nobody can see. You did have I thought I was feeling optimistic about Pittsburgh with the big Calvin Austin play. I was like, okay, let's go. They're just better. Like, they're going to have some big plays throughout this game. They're going to be able to handle this Browns team. But that wasn't the case.
It was not the case. The chat points out, I give credit to Vance, Jameis Winston was also suspended once for groping like an Uber driver or a Lyft driver or a taxi driver. Yeah, you haven't blacked that out, have you, Bennett?
I guess I have. Apologies.
I actually had blacked that one out too. I forgot about that.
I completely forgot about that.
If I had remembered it, I would have brought it up in support of my argument. But I needed Vance to remind me of that. That yes, Jameis Winston was also once suspended. I've been in a lot of Ubers and Lyfts and taxis over the years, Bennett. I tell you what, I ain't never even thought about groping one.
I have not either. By the way, shout out to Calvin Austin. He has become like a big part of that Steelers franchise. He's a real contributor for them, especially since Russell Wilson got there. Like, it was, it looked early on in his career like he just maybe is going to be just like one of those guys that bounces around a little bit in the league, and he's found a real role there, so I'm happy for him.
3 catches, 78 yards last night. He had a touchdown. He was targeted 3 times, and he made 3 catches. So, yeah, he's doing it, and he's doing it for a team that, should have won last night. At least they were favored to do so. But 8-3. Hey, there's a lot of NFL franchises that'd like to be 8-3 on November 22nd, Bennett.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. Fan, that's the way I'm looking at it. Hey, the snow and the rain, it was fun to look at. Jameis seemed to enjoy himself, and congratulations to the Browns. I guess you're 3-8 now, 2-4 at home.
Number 2.
Sources have confirmed to ESPN that Robert Kraft, the 6-time Super Bowl winning owner of the New England Patriots, has once again been rejected for induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame by the Hall's Contributor Committee. You know what I say about the Hall's Contributor Committee?
What?
There's some real haters. The Contributor Committee seems to be made up entirely of some real haters.
It seems that way.
How is Robert Kraft not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because I mean, he was there for. He's been the owner. He was there, the owner for all of those Super Bowls, right?
Jerry Jones is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but Robert Kraft isn't. Defend that, Bennett. Defend that on behalf of your sport.
I can't defend it. No, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It sounds like a. I mean, they had quite a bit of beef with the commissioner of the NFL for quite some time, so I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it.
I think what you're trying to say, Bennett, is that the Contributor Committee sounds like some real haters.
I think so, yes. Although, does Goodell have anything to do with the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Like, that's not a...
No.
Yeah,
no.
So I don't...
The actual explanation, if you're trying... Because I saw this late last night, and I was like, what? First off, I was like, I didn't know that this was a thing. Apparently, this is a thing. If you follow things like this in baseball, like Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. That was always a thing. On the football side, that thing is Robert Kraft belongs in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's a thing. I just wasn't. I hadn't paid attention to it, but it's a thing. And if you Google, like, so why is Robert Kraft with 6 Super Bowls not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I know why.
Tell me why, Bennett.
Well, if we're out here talking about people that had to deal with allegations, I mean, he was the one getting handies at the massage parlors.
He did allegedly get a handy at a massage parlor, Bennett. I can't deny that. I can't argue with that.
I'm just saying. If we're laying out everyone's dirty laundry.
But should getting a handy keep you out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
I mean, Michael Irvin is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You think he never got a handy?
I mean, I don't want to assume, but point taken.
It's actually not that, I don't think, as much as it's Deflategate and Spygate. They think he's running a franchise that's been cheating, and that's why they're keeping him out of the Hall. That's what I read.
Yeah. I mean, I know that it's not. It's hard to compare two different sports, but I mean, we've talked a ton about Pete Rose over the past couple months. Like, they could never get past that. And this could be a similar situation, right?
But here's my thing. There is no scenario where they will keep Tom Brady out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's right.
All right?
There's
So-
no question.
So now make it make sense to me. You can't reasonably say we want Robert Kraft out of the Hall of Fame because of the stuff that happened, because every single thing that happened with Tom Brady. Every meaningful thing that happened with Tom Brady. So they can't wait to put Tom Brady in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but you're not going to put either they're both cheaters or they're both not. And I'm not here to argue either side. I'm just saying logically it makes no sense to say Tom Brady can go into the Hall of Fame. My God, look at all of his accomplishments. But Robert Kraft can't go in the Hall of Fame because all of his accomplishments are tainted. You can't say both of those things at the same time. They don't hold up.
Yeah.
They don't hold up to any scrutiny. I'm for Robert Kraft. I'm not trying to tell you he didn't run a franchise that benefited from Deflategate, Spygate. I'm not trying to tell you he's never been to a massage parlor. I'm trying to tell you that he has been running for a long time, one of the greatest and most accomplished professional football franchises in this country, and it seems crazy to me that they have a Pro Football Hall of Fame and the owner of the New England Patriots is not in it. Hashtag free Robert Kraft, hashtag free Bob Kraft, hashtag put him in. I think all that works.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Number 3.
The feds are investigating an ex-Temple basketball player for allegedly betting on his own games and manipulating the outcome of them. Young man's name is Hyseer Miller. And just out of curiosity, Bennett, last night, decided to go see what Hyseer Miller did against the University of Memphis last season. And would you believe he went 4 of 15 from the field in an 84-77 loss? He might have been up to some shenanigans. Do you think played when Temple and Memphis played last season?
I mean, that's I'm losing you a little bit, by the way. I mean, I don't know. That's interesting. That's interesting.
My buddy is being investigated for manipulating the outcome of games, and all I'm telling you is against Memphis, he was 4 of 15 in an 84-77 loss. Perhaps he just sucked that day, but the feds think there might have been more to it. The main thing that's interesting about the story isn't what he did against Memphis. It's that this is a real thing that's happening, and this was always going to be a real thing. You ready? Because people will start now. The conversation will be, what do you need to do to avoid this? You ready? You can't. You cannot avoid this. All you can do is hope to catch it when it happens. And with regulated sports gambling in this country, that's how you catch it. If everybody were still just operating with local bookmakers, offshore books, your country club odds maker, all that stuff that we did in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s up until we landed in a place where DraftKings and FanDuel and everything else is everywhere. It was you couldn't catch stuff, or at least it was much more difficult to catch. But now, because everything is regulated, if DraftKings, FanDuel, any of these companies see anything that looks out of line, and out of line could be anything as we normally take X amount of money of bets on Temple games, but today it's quadrupled for some reason. Why? We normally take bets in this range on a Temple basketball game, but we just got one that's 10 times the normal size. Why? These little things that happen are big things in their mind, and they flag them and they start looking in. And clearly when they started looking at Temple, they found something connected to Hyseer Miller. And so the question will become, how do you prevent this from ever happening again? And you really can't, other than you hope that catching somebody in a very public way scares other people, college athletes, into not doing it. But imagine you play, there are 360-something college basketball teams. Imagine you play on a bad one, like Temple was last season. You come from nothing, or you don't have much for whatever reason, and you are approached by somebody who says, yo, you guys are playing, let's just say Memphis. You guys take Temple, you stink. You've lost 3 of your past 4. You're not going to the NCAA tournament. You're not going to the NIT. You're not accomplishing anything this season. You're playing Memphis tomorrow, and you're supposed to lose anyway. You could probably play well, young man, and still lose. So I tell you what. Here's the number on the game. We need you to lose by this much. Make a shot, whatever. But when it comes time to miss them, we need you to miss enough to make sure not only that you lose, but you lose by X amount of points. And here's 20 grand to do that. You see how easy it is to get sucked in?
Yes.
Because you're the player, and here's what you say. You say, we ain't winning anything anyway. My team has already given up. My teammates have already given up. Half the team's over here partying every night. The other half doesn't show up to practice on time. Nobody cares about this anyway. I could go out and play my ass off, and we're still probably losing to Memphis. So why not make 20 grand? I need the money. Mom needs the money. You see how this happens?
Mm-hmm.
And there is somebody like that player on 250 teams in America.
Right. I think, too, especially for guys that, I'm not everyone that plays in Division I college basketball, for the most part, would probably like to play professional basketball. But you would assume that, a lot of these guys are realistic that there's a limit to the number of high-level basketball games they're ever going to play in. I think that probably factors in it, too.
I know people are like, and I'm just making up a number. I don't know what it is, but let's just call it $20,000. I know people would be like, but how could you throw away your entire basketball career or violate the trust of the game and all that stuff over $20,000? Well, when you're 21 years old and you come from nothing, $20,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least it feels like it is. I can imagine when I was in college, if somebody would have dropped $20,000 on me, I'd have felt like they dropped $20 million on me.
Right, and how many opportunities are you going to have to make that money, right?
Right, and you know what you say? Hey, I'll make some shots. I'll keep it close. Nobody will know. But then because there's irregular betting made on your game,
mm-hmm.
It's not that they go into it suspecting you. They don't know it's you. They just know something's not right here. Why do we usually take, and again, I'm just making up numbers, but why do we usually take, on average in our entire book, why do we usually take $30,000 in wagers per Temple basketball game, but suddenly we've got $150,000 that came in on Memphis minus whatever? This is not normal. Flag it. Let's start looking.
It's exactly what happened to Jonte Porter. They were like, whoa, why are people placing all these Jonte Porter bets, right?
Right, yeah. That is how you get caught. You don't get caught because they're watching the game and they think that you're throwing the game or trying to manipulate the outcome. You get caught because all of these bets in an unusual way come in and they flag it. It's just, hey, do you ever get these notifications from your checking account or I get these sometimes. I'll have these recurring debits that go through my account.
Yeah.
They just come out every month. And if one of them is abnormally different than what it typically is, so let's say my kid's tuition comes out on the 1st of every month. If for some reason, let's say my kids went on a field trip to Washington, D.C. with their school, and they just make that charge instead of X amount of dollars a month, they say, well, this time we're adding on the trip to D.C., so it's twice as much. My checking account or bank account or whatever will actually send me an email, and it'll say, this recurring charge is irregular. If it's okay, you don't need to do anything, but if not, please contact us. It flags it because it's like, hey, we know what's supposed to come out on the 1st every month, and this is twice as much. This might not be normal. You need to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly what the sports books do. They know more or less what's supposed to come in on a Temple Memphis basketball game or a Temple anybody basketball game. And when way more money comes in on that game and it's all tilted to one side, it gets flagged.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're suddenly investigation by the feds. We'll see where it goes. But this young man, he had transferred from Temple to Virginia Tech after last season. And even before this season started, Virginia Tech dismissed him for conduct prior to his arrival and enrollment at Virginia Tech. So in basketball circles, this had been swirling, the idea of this, for a little while. But we got confirmation yesterday. The feds are investigating a former Temple player, and I bet what they're going to find is that he was doing exactly what they said he was doing.
Number 4.
Game of the night in college basketball last night. It happened in the Bahamas. It was the Bahamar Hoops Championship. Baylor 99, St. John's 98 in double overtime. Interesting game. St. John's was up 18 points in the first half, 14 points at halftime, up 5 points with less than 8 seconds to play. VJ Edgecombe, the five-star freshman, hits a three, cuts it to 2. St. John's inbounds foul. Zuby Ejiofor goes to the free throw line. They're up to 2 free throws. In other words, make one, you're no worse than a tie, headed to third overtime. You make 2, you have ended the game. He pulled what is commonly referred to in the Memphis area as a D-wash. He missed both of these free throws, leaving St. John's only up 2 with about 7 seconds to go. You might have seen it last night if you were on social media at all. If not, let's watch it together.
Ejiofor second. Off the front rim. Omier has it with 2. Roach for the win. It's good!
Oh, man. Can you believe that?
Jeremy Roach has won it for the Baylor Bears. A buzzer beater in the Bahamas.
And I think the officials will look at the replay just to make sure there's no time. But, man, what a shot.
Buzzer beater
St.
from
John's
Jeremy
really
Roach.
wasn't out of position. The only thing maybe you could have done differently was try to turn them side to side.
Baylor beat St. John's to advance to today's championship game of the Bahamar Championship. That'll be tonight, 9:30 on CBS Sports Network. It's going to be Baylor against Tennessee, so a top 15 matchup tonight on CBS Sports Network. I'll be in studio all night, so I hope you guys join us. After the game, Scott Drew was talking about Jeremy Roach, and very simply, he said he's a winner, big-time player, and he really is. It's interesting that he was Jeremy Roach at Duke for 4 years. He started 108 games. He went to 2 Elite Eights. He made a Final Four. He won an ACC regular season title. He won an ACC tournament title. And still at the end of the season, he leaves Duke to get into the transfer portal. And he has subsequently said that it was never his goal to leave Duke. He didn't really want to leave as much as he was felt to believe that it was time for him to leave, or made to feel that it was time for him to leave. So that's going to be an interesting story as this season continues to unfold. If Jeremy Roach is winning big games and hitting big shots for Baylor, and Duke continues to have either point guard problems or youth problems or inexperience problems, people are going to start to ask the very reasonable question, why didn't you guys do what you needed to do to keep Jeremy Roach in Durham with all these 5-star freshmen? Like, wouldn't it be great to have a 5th-year point guard with all these 5-star freshmen? Some people will say, well, listen, Baylor just put a big NIL package on the table, and they just bought him away, and what are you going to do? Well, with all due respect, you're Duke. Like, there is no scenario where Duke, the biggest brand in the sport, should be losing a player it wants over money. Like, that shouldn't even be – it'd be like the Yankees losing a player over money, or the Dodgers losing a player over money, or the Mets losing a player over money. Like, all the money should be put on the table. If you just want to go play at Baylor, go play at Baylor. But don't make it about money. And quite clearly, Jeremy Roach is on the record saying, I didn't want to leave Duke. I just was made to feel like it was time for me to leave Duke. So this could be one of those deals where everybody benefits. Duke could be better off without Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach could be better off at Baylor without Duke. But it's an interesting sort of 2-day stretch here. Baylor in a tournament beats St. John's behind a big shot from Jeremy Roach. Duke tonight in a true road environment at Arizona with all those 5-star freshmen. We might look up 10 minutes into the game and go, man, it looks like they need to settle down. Sure would be nice to have a 5th-year point guard who's already been to Final Four and won conference championships and all that stuff. Jeremy Roach, again, playing tonight roughly at the same time. Jeremy Roach will be on the court against Tennessee, and his former teammates at Duke on the court at Arizona.
Number 5.
Big Bet Bennett, you sent it to me with 3 big films opening this weekend. It is expected, by people who know more about this than I do, that tonight will launch a Thanksgiving weekend that will go down in history as, or rather, when Thanksgiving weekend gets here, we will have the biggest Thanksgiving weekend in box office history. They're expecting around $300 million in revenue. Tell us about what's happening.
Well, it's gonna happen because it's three of the biggest releases of the year. Wicked and Gladiator 2 dropped today, and Moana 2 drops on Wednesday, I believe. So this is like the Thanksgiving week that they're basically saying, but they're calling it Thanksgiving weekend. I think Moana drops Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm stoked, and I'm having massive FOMO because we're trying to find a babysitter because we can't take the baby to the movies. But I've got to see all of these. Like I have to. It's not a matter of when. It's a matter of how am I going to be able to do this. So JB's going to see Wicked tonight. She's stoked about it. It's probably going to be the biggest movie by far of the three. I think it'll be Wicked number one easily, and then I think it could be a toss-up between Gladiator 2 and Moana 2 for which one takes second place this week. But they're all three getting good reviews, and I can't wait to see them. Wicked is kind of surprising because it's got a 98% audience score, which, like, movies that people are stoked about is always going to get a big audience score, whether the critics like it or not. But the critics love this movie. It's got a 90% critic score as well, which I'm kind of surprised by, just because it's like, I know it's based on a Broadway show, which helps it, but it's also like fantasy, and so typically the critics are snobs and might not like something like that. But this movie's supposed to be really good.
Didn't Ariana Grande steal some woman's husband?
I mean, you're just like going down this path today of rehashing people's old dirty laundry. Like, I'm trying to live in the now, bro. And Ariana Grande is.
With that?
Huh?
Are we comfortable with Ariana Grande stealing another woman's husband?
She also did that. We talked about donuts earlier. Remember the video of her like licking the donut and putting it back at the donut shop? She's come a long way since then.
Has she? That's what I'm asking you.
Yes, she's come a long way. She's come a long way since then. No, I'm stoked about this. We saw the Broadway show a couple years back, and it was great. Like, everybody loves that. Everybody that goes and sees that Broadway show loves it. So I'm excited to see this one. Going to go try to see it on Sunday. And then Gladiator 2. I don't really know. I'm not looking at anything about it because I kind of want to go in blind and just judge for myself. But I mean, the first one's great. Won Best Picture. Like, I'm excited about it. It's got a great cast.
I should tell you something. You don't even know nothing about me. I should tell you something about me. I feel like there's something I need to tell you.
What's up?
And that is, the thing I need to tell you is that on my flight here on Wednesday, I watched Gladiator for the first time.
You mentioned to me that you had never seen Gladiator. What'd you think? Because, I mean, again, it won Best Picture. Like, it's obviously a super famous movie, right? What'd you think?
I thought it was great. I can't believe it took me
this long to watch it. Good. Your boy Joaquin, I think he might have won Best Supporting Actor for that movie, or at least was nominated.
I can't believe it took me this long to watch it. Like, I took 24 years to watch it, and it was interesting. You know, one of the things I learned, I swear to God, I never even thought. This is how little I ever thought about this movie. I'm just sort of watching it, And spoiler alert, and then they get, Russell Crowe, he gets sold into slavery, right?
Yeah.
And then they turn them into gladiators.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, and you know what I went? I was sitting on my plane. You know what I went? I went, so that's why they call this Gladiator.
Yeah, man. Yeah. In the Roman Colosseum. They
took him to the Roman Colosseum. It was like watching Taylor Swift get real big,
Yeah.
At first they were over here in arenas doing their little gladiator fight. And then they were like, no, man, it's time to do the Eras tour. Let's take this to the Colosseum. And then the rest is history.
So in this one, and again, I haven't I saw the trailer early on, and I've just tried not to look at anything about it because I want to judge for myself. But apparently in this one, one of the what do we call it? The what do we call it when they fight? Like what do we call that?
War.
No, it's not a war. It's a show, dude. It's a show at the Coliseum. It's not a war.
You don't have the right mindset. That's why you would have never made a good gladiator.
Probably not.
War. You got to consider a war. I look at that. I consider a war.
So one of them, in one of the scenes, it happens on water. Like they fill up the Coliseum with water and like fight on boats and stuff.
I'll fight on a boat.
That's kind of cool. I was like, okay, I'm in for that. I wonder if they put sharks in there.
Man, I tell you, well, they had a tiger in the first one. Remember
they had that tiger. Yeah, that tiger was scary too. That really threw a wrench in the whole thing.
It was a thing you don't account for, I don't think.
No,
you know?
Not at all. You just think it's like you and this other guy one-on-one, and then you got a tiger coming up out of the ground. Yeah.
They really made it tough for Russell Crowe. You know, they really challenged him. They challenged him in a variety of ways.
He will not be in this one. Another spoiler: he dies in the first one, so
yeah,
you won't be seeing Russell Crowe. No,
I didn't think the gladiator would be dead at the end of it, so that was disappointing, or not disappointing, just a bit surprising.
No,
is it amazing that I had spent like 24 years since Gladiator came out? It won Best Picture. It had my friend Joaquin in it. And I genuinely had no idea really what it was about or who died and who lived. I really didn't know anything about it.
I'm very surprised that it took you this long to see that movie. Yes. I mean, that's just like one of the, I feel like that's just one, especially dudes. Like, I just feel like that's just one that like every guy see. Like every guy, even guys that don't like have movie collections like Blu-rays and whatnot, they like have Gladiator on DVD.
But when did it come out? It came out in 2000. So you have to understand when 2000 was. It's my first year out of college. I'm living downtown. I'm in the bars every night. Like, I'm not a nerd at home watching movies. I'm out.
It's not nerd. It's not nerdy, okay? It's cool.
I wasn't a nerd. I wasn't a nerd out there watching movies. I was in them bars every night. Like a cool person.
No, you were not the cool. I was the cool person watching Gladiator. If you could pick one, what would you go see out of the three?
Gladiator 2, because I just saw Gladiator like
you just saw
a couple
Gladiator.
days ago. I'm fired up about it.
It is like people are they're calling it Glicked, which is kind of disrespectful because they're not including Moana 2 in this, which is going to be another big movie at the box office. But they're calling this Glicked like they called like Barbenheimer, right? They're saying it's going to be the next Barbenheimer because you had like Barbie for the girls and you had Oppenheimer for the guys. I saw both, and I'll see both of these. But it does feel kind of similar.
Yeah, I guess it feels similar. I would want to see Gladiator 2 most of the three because I just watched Gladiator and realized that, buddy, I've been missing out. I don't want to wait till like 2048 to see Gladiator 2. You know?
Yeah, I think you need to get on that.
I don't think I should have to wait till 2048 to see Gladiator 2. So I might even watch it. I might even watch it this weekend. I might go to the movies or something. I don't know. I'm not making promises.
Man. No, we need your contributions, man, and we want to make this historic. We are back. The movies are back. Yes.
We're back. All right, I'm gonna try to do my part. I can't promise you anything, but I'm gonna try to do my part. If I wait 24 years to see Gladiator 2, I'm gonna be real disappointed in myself.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's take a break. We'll be back with GP's Carryout.
I can't tell you how many people texted me and thought it was the funniest thing ever that you were sitting on the front row in your jersey.
Yo, no.
You were wearing a Tony Allen jersey on the front row. They're like, yo, tell him to check in.
That joke was smeedy. I told Tia, I said, yo, I didn't have a hoodie on, though. I mean, a sweater on. I told Tia, you should have sized up on that joint, man. Yo, shout out to Robin Hood, man.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
It's the top 5 worst teams in the NFL. I think the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL.
I got the Saints number 1. Let's put the Aints up there. They're terrible.
I'll take the Titans as my worst team in the NFL. If they played Will Levis, they're for sure the worst team. Maybe in NFL history. Might be worse than the 0-16 Lions if they play Will Levis.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support. When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in.
We'll ride the energy together.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Ben Doyle back inside the Built Ford Tough Studio. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let's focus on the breaking news from the world of music, where Kendrick Lamar, your Pulitzer Prize winner and soon-to-be Super Bowl halftime performer, has dropped his much-anticipated album. 12 tracks, only 44 minutes. I love a 44-minute album. Oh, man, I love a 44-minute album. So, you want to know what I'll be doing rest of the afternoon? That's it. Looking forward to it.
Kind of disrespectful he'd do it on Glicked weekend.
You know what? I bet it didn't even cross his mind, but I bet it probably did, and he did it anyway. I'm not going to call it disrespectful. I'm not going to call it disrespectful. I'm just going to enjoy it. It's not every day a Pulitzer Prize winner releases a brand new album, Bennett. So November 22nd, 2024, it's an important day in the history of my life.
What's today's biggest game?
We'll go to the NBA, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. They're going to do it on ESPN. It's the Mavericks and the Nuggets. They're doing it at Ball Arena in Denver. Nuggets, 2.5-point favorites. Totals 224.5. Nikola Jokic, your 3-time MVP, is officially listed as questionable personal reasons. Bennett, you lost last night because you didn't spot funny business. So your record is now 167, 167, and 4. You're exactly 500, but that accounts negative 18.1 units. Nuggets minus 2.5. How you going to act?
I mean, I got to think he's going to come back and play. And the Mavs don't have Luka. Yeah, give me the Nuggets.
Bennett said he's taking the Nuggets in Denver inside Ball Arena. Bennett said you can't pick against the Nuggets inside Ball Arena. Take Denver minus 2.5. 9 o'clock tip tonight. You can watch it on ESPN.
What are we watching on TV?
Well, I'll be in studio all day. I mean, like I'm about to end the show and take a shower and put on a suit, and I'll be in studio all day, all night. CBS Sports Network, we've got some great games headlined by late tonight, Baylor against Tennessee, championship game from the Bahamas. That's a pair of top 15 teams. So if you want to watch some basketball, I'll be with you all day on CBS Sports Network. That's channel 221 on DirecTV. We've also got SmackDown tonight on USA Network. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, the OTC. He's still looking for a 5th member. You see what's going on, right?
I see.
Solo Sikoa, Joka Fatu, Tamatanga, they went out and found them a 5th member of the new Bloodline. They got Big Bronson Reed. Now, as you know, Big Bronson Reed been beating the shit out of Seth Rollins basically every week for a while.
Yeah.
Now, Seth Rollins has already declined the opportunity to join the original Bloodline, but after Bronson Reed joined the new Bloodline and beat up Seth Rollins again, there's some thought in industry circles. I ain't trying to be a wrestling insider, Bennett, but there's some thought in wrestling circles that Seth Rollins could become, at least temporarily, the 5th member of the original bloodline. And then we're ready to go. Are you fired up? Are you fired up yet, or are you bored?
I'm extremely fired up. GP. No, I've kind of been. This time of year, there's a lot going on, and I think WWE recognizes it too. I think they recognize it too.
You think they're getting lazy?
I don't think they're getting lazy. I just think that they're getting ready for January. That's what I think.
Hey, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? SmackDown, USA Network tonight, 7 o'clock.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best, but it's it's the only thing I've written over the past 24 hours. It's at CBSSports.com. It's Friday morning's update to the top 25 and 1. I didn't move Memphis in, but the Tigers are on my radar. Hand to heart. This is my promise to you and everybody else. Go beat UConn on Monday. I'll get you in the top 25 and 1 on Tuesday morning. This time I wrote about Jeremy Roach and his big shot from Baylor last night. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out, CBSSports.com.
What's on tap next week?
Well, on Monday, we'll be looking back at Grizz-Bulls, looking ahead to Grizz-Blazers. We'll look ahead, I guess, to Memphis UConn, because we'll be done by the time it tips at 1:30 in the afternoon. So it should be a really fun week. Monday afternoon, awesome opportunity for Penny and his program. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to get back in studio in Memphis. I'll be there on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to try to enjoy mine. Let's meet back here Monday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.